Welcome to the Free to Soar podcast. My mission is to inspire, empower, and equip heart-centered, mission-driven, kingdom-minded business owners to show up freely and fully as the brilliant, powerful change makers that you are, so that you can lead the business and the life of your dreams. You'll enjoy vulnerable, authentic conversations with me and other heart-centered, mission-driven leaders that will spark your heart and ignite your passion to powerfully transform you, your business, and your life from the inside out. Your next level of impact and income is about unleashing the fullness of you, reprogramming your limiting beliefs and patterns, tapping into and trusting your inner wisdom, and harnessing God's power within you so that you can unlock new possibilities in your business and your life. And this show brings it to you. Step with me into a God-powered reality wilder than your wildest dreams, with freedom, impact, abundance, and enjoyment that you were created for. Let's go. Well, welcome back to another episode of Free to Soar podcast. And this is part 2 of the nervous system, how regulating our nervous system to tap into abundance. And I'm excited about sharing more of this with you, about how to take your relationship with money to the next level. And we're going to talk about that next piece today in our conversation. If you missed part 1, it is absolutely available to you. It was the last episode, I think episode 24. So you can go and watch that, and it's available on the platform. So be sure to or watch or listen, and share with a friend, of course, as always. But today I'm walking you through what you need to know and what you need to do to take your relationship with money to the next level. And we're going to be talking about the next piece in our conversation around the nervous system and around money, and how to actually update your nervous system's set point so that experiencing abundance becomes automatic. So that just becomes your reality. It just becomes your capacity is expanded to be able to receive more. You know, we all have a set point about how in our body, in our nervous system, about how much we naturally are able to receive, how much we're naturally able to allow flow to come in, and how much we feel comfortable with and worthy of. And I'm going to teach you how to begin to increase that today, because it all has to do with nervous system conditioning and reconditioning, because we're wired to survive. And so a lot of times in our survival that our nervous system is preoccupied with, then we miss being able to thrive because we are so focused on, things that allow us to survive. So personal development, the personal development world talks a lot about mindsets, and how in order to change your reality and to transform a lot of times your financial situation, that you need to change your mindset. And I used to believe that was the key to change too. And it is an important piece, but it's not the whole story. And since I've done the somatic work this last year that I've learned to heal my nervous system, and now I do this with my clients, I realize that there's a misunderstanding about the way that we're wired to say that you just can change your thoughts and then that will change your reality. And it's leaving out a huge piece of the puzzle that we're not addressing. And that massive piece of the puzzle is the nervous system. And so go back and listen to the podcast from last week if you really want to dig deep into the nervous system, where I talk about big T trauma, ancestral trauma, collective trauma, why we get stuck in these nervous system set points, and why we can't expand beyond that level of abundance and receivership when we're stuck in those set points that keep us in survival. But today, I just want to begin by explaining one thing. Here's what happens. We have experiences that happen to us, or happen to our ancestors, or happen to the collective, to people that we identify with who are witnessing. And then our bodies gather information from those experiences that happened. Our nervous system gathers information, and it stores away this information about what feels safe, about what's a threat in the world, about what it is necessary in order to feel safe and needed and necessary to survive, because our nervous system is trying to keep us safe first and foremost. And basically, it is keeping us surviving at the expense of everything else. That is its first primary um, uh, um, priority. And those experiences that we experience along life, they imprint our nervous system. And the body memories that we have from those experiences then create our emotions. So our emotions that we feel are a direct result of our nervous system, which includes, and let me say what the nervous system includes first. The nervous system includes the vagus nerve, the central channel, our brain, all the nerve endings all around our entire body. And those nerves communicate through electricity in our body. So nerve synapses are nerves that are firing together. So this information that is coming into our body from experiences outside of our body is traveling from our brain to our bodies and from our bodies to our brain constantly. And 80% of the information is going from our bodies to our brain. So 80% of the communication is body to brain. 20% of the communication is brain to body. So do you see why only trying to change your thoughts and shift your mindset and focusing on the mindset piece as your starting point for transformation is leaving out 80% of what's available in terms of updating our entire system to help us live our most expansive lives? It's a problem, which is why I'm educating you about the nervous system, because I really want people to understand that if they're focused on mindset alone, they're missing out on at least 80% of the transformational capacity that our bodies have, that our nervous system has to increase our set point, our capacity for receiving more. So what we know is that nervous system imprints create our emotional experiences. So our nervous system leads to our emotions. Our emotions are an entire psychological cocktail of sensation that live inside our body. So our nervous system is very intimately linked with our emotions right now. Our emotions, whether we're feeling sad, excited, happy, fearful, angry, joyful, content, whatever, if we are feeling anxious, those emotions are sensations in the body. And then our brain comes in with thoughts to make sense of and to make stories of, to make meaning of the sensation in our body. See how it's linked? Emotion to thought to behavior or to sensation. Our thoughts are the meaning that we make of the emotional sensation that we're experiencing in our body. Because when you think about it, it's um, our thoughts have to make meaning of that so that we know how to process it. So, for instance, when I feel anger, I'll feel maybe I feel a tightness in my chest, maybe I feel a clenching of my jaw, and then I label that as anger. So I'm making a story about the sensation that I feel. I feel the tightness, I feel the clenching of my jaw, I feel the whatever else sensations we might have with that emotion. I label that as anger. My body makes sense of it. But actually, that tightness in my chest is really just a sensation. My brain comes in and labels it as anger because it's a collection of sensations that I have experienced before around a particular trigger, an experience that triggers usually something I experienced in my past. It is very frequent that when we're having a big emotion, a big feeling, it is related to the current content that we're experiencing in our lives. But it's exacerbated by something from our past because it reminds our nervous system of something it's experienced before. And our nervous system goes into alert and says, hey, this is a threat. You need to respond accordingly because it felt threatening before. So if I am, there's a sensation, there are sensations and emotions that I felt connected to experiences of the past that were threatening. And so, of course, if I feel that same trigger by something that is going on now, but is connecting me to a past experience that is traumatic or that it feels unsafe to my my nervous system will give me all of the alerts and say, hey, this is a threat and you need to respond. So it sends out a physiological cocktail of sensations, which then we label as an emotion. I'm scared, I'm angry, I'm anxious, I'm whatever, which then we create meaning out of. And that's where our thoughts come from. Our thoughts that are repeated over and over again then create our belief system. And our beliefs are intertwined with our nervous system. So our nervous system is essentially the foundational substrate of what we believe is possible for us. Let me say that again. Our nervous system, because our beliefs are intertwined with our nervous system is essentially the foundational substrate of what we believe is possible for us. So our beliefs are entangled with our nervous system. So the sensations we're going to feel in our body are going to come right along with those beliefs. And get this, our ability to create the lives that we dream of are dependent upon what our nervous system feels is safe and available. And that's going to be dependent on our past experience or on our ability to update our nervous system. So we're going to be triggered and imprisoned by past experiences, past trauma, little t trauma, big T trauma, collective trauma, ancestral trauma, all the things that we've experienced in the past that our nervous system is programmed by that don't feel safe or available to us, that are reinforced by beliefs at this point, very strong mindsets by this point. And unless we update that nervous system, unless we recondition, reprogram that nervous system, we are going to, what feels safe and available to us is going to be dependent on only on our past experience. So then we have absolute nervous system set points that lead to emotional experiences, then lead to thoughts and beliefs, which lead to our behavior. So we make decisions and we act based on every single one of those. The three things that I mentioned before that are correlated here, that are connected here, are our nervous system, our emotions, and our thoughts and our beliefs, right? So what's going on in our mind? Then we behave. Then we go to the meeting with our boss and we have one particular kind of conversation, or we go into the sales pitch on the sales call and we either knock it out of the park or we do a terrible job. That all has to do with everything: the nervous system, our emotions, and our thoughts and our beliefs. Everything in our lives, every experience we have to do with how our nervous system is processing that, what emotions we have, and the thoughts and the beliefs that are associated with it. Then, of course, our behavior is what creates our results. Now, some degree of our frequency and our whole energetic being, this also impacts our results because we are impacting our external world on the quantum level. Meaning, there's 3D reality, and then there's the I do this and this happens. There's also an energetic reality where if I'm operating in a particular expansive frequency and a belief in a trust that I am safe and provided for, that sets off a false sequence of events in the external world that are not exclusively dependent on my 3D input behavior in the physical world. So that's a whole other thing. So it's our behavior that creates our results. Our frequency at which we vibrate as an emotional, whole energetic being, that also impacts our results with everything that's going on, with how we show up in our external world and our impact on the quantum level. But there's also an energetic reality where if I'm operating in a particular expansive frequency, and a frequency where I've updated my nervous system and a belief and a trust that I'm safe and provided for, and that I'm no longer in survival mode, I'm no longer in a trauma state, this does not feel threatening to me, then that will change things. And that's how we begin to update our nervous system. What's really important to know about our nervous system is that we update our nervous system set point through signaling to our bodies that we're safe. I want you to hear that again. We update our nervous system set point. In other words, what we expand our capacity to be able to receive more, to be with more, to allow flow of more, to thrive through signaling to our bodies that we're safe. Because as long as our body doesn't feel safe, it's going to feel like it has to keep me in survival. And everything in survival constricts and restricts. So I'm going to be loss aversive and try to grasp onto and hold and settle for much less than is available to me if I don't feel safe, if I feel threatened. So there's a few layers here, and this is something that we practice and we have community around, and we have group behavior and understanding around in some of my coaching programs, which it helps to become automatic through practice and because you learn to co-regulate with people, you learn how to reprogram, and it's amazing once you do. You learn how to regulate and resource your nervous system and live from that expanded place. But I want to talk today. I want to teach you today just some first minor basic little steps so you can begin to learn how to update your nervous system set points. And here's what's important to know about that. Our nervous system has what is called a range of regulation. So we have a range of regulation. It's also called our range of tolerance. It's also called our range of capacity or our range of resonance. All four of those terms mean the same thing. And it's our ability to respond to what life is bringing us. So if we have a high range of tolerance, a high range of regulation, a high range of capacity, or a high range of resonance, we are able to receive, open to receive, and feel safe receiving, feel comfortable taking in, receiving, responding to what life is bringing us. We're engaged consciously in a response as opposed to protecting ourselves from that which doesn't feel safe in an unconscious reaction that we're not even aware of. So we're either engaged consciously in a response to what life is bringing to us, what God is offering us, or we're opposed to it and we feel threatened by it. It doesn't feel safe to us in our unconscious reaction. And that's what's happening every day. So our range of capacity is our ability to experience life and to stay regulated. So what does regulated mean? I know this is complicated stuff, but it really is, it's powerfully transformational when you learn how to do it. So we can increase our range of capacity when we increase our ability to experience life and stay regulated. And staying regulated or being regulated means that our body feels safe. It feels safe and secure. So our job, if we want to update our nervous system to be able to receive more, to expand our capacity for more, to increase our range of capacity, our range of resonance, then we need to learn how to signal to our body more often that we are safe. We need to learn how to live and lead from a resourced and regulated place more often rather than reacting from this unconscious place of, ooh, that doesn't feel safe to me. Ooh, I feel anxious about that. That feels scary to me. So I don't know what to do with that. So we're going to resist it. We're going to be in resistance to things that don't feel safe or familiar. So think about and I'll talk about this more in a few minutes, but think about your financial situation. You want more money. You want to make more money, but what does it really mean for you to make more money? What are the deepest unconscious fears that you might have about making more money? And I'll talk about that in the next podcast episode. That's where we're going next, are the unconscious fears and how to do the inventory to really get at what are those unconscious fears that are causing you to resist what you actually say you want. We have a love-hate with the things that we really want the most oftentimes. And we're mad at God because we feel like he's withholding from us when really it's our nervous system conditioning that is keeping us from being able to receive the more that we want. But when we're experiencing something in the world or when we're experiencing a trigger of something in the past that has sent us out of our range of regulation or out of our range of capacity, then we're going to be in resistance to that. We're going to not feel safe. We're going to be in a trigger. We're going to be in a trauma response of some sort. We're going to be in an emotion that's negative. We're going to be in a state that is dysregulated in our nervous system. So what are the signs that we're in dysregulation? What are the signs that we're outside of our range of capacity in some way? Well, the signs of being dysregulated could be a whole slew of things. There are a number of things, but here are some common ones. We feel anxious. We feel overwhelmed. Feel like you're not in your body. You have trouble staying focused. You have trouble being present. You feel like you're taking a ton of action, but it's disjointed, it's disorganized, it's not leading you to results, or you have trouble taking action maybe in the first place. Procrastination. You're more in a state of a hypo response, which means when we get out of range of regulation or out of a range of capacity, we go into either a hyper response or we go into a hypo response. So hyper response is when I'm reacting to what life is bringing me through fight or flight. So basically, I'm getting into action because my nervous system is telling me that I'm not safe. And so I'm getting busy to do something about that. So if we were animals living in the savannah in Africa and I was a gazelle and I was being chased by a lion, what would happen is my nervous system would go into sympathetic nervous system response, which would be in the hyper end of the spectrum, and it would send me into flight. And I would run for my life, literally. Evolutionarily speaking, that makes sense. The gazelle can run. That's its tool. So I would then run away from the lion. And then if I outran the lion and the lion didn't catch me, who knows what might have happened to the lion along the way, right? So let's say I outrun the lion. What's going to happen in the gazelle's body is it shakes. Why does it do that? We don't notice this part of the whole. We just think, oh, it stops running and it's done. We don't notice that it shakes. It shakes after the chase. Why does it do that? It involuntarily shakes because that's the way of the nervous system to update the gazelle that it's now safe. The shaking is the metabolism or the metabolizing of all the stress hormones, the adrenaline in the body, and it allows all of those stress hormones to be metabolized and cleared out so that the gazelle's body knows it is now safe and no longer being chased by the lion. There's not an immediate threat, and it can go back to munching grass or sleeping or procreating or doing whatever the rest and digest response is, which is the parasympathetic response. But we have a sympathetic dominant society. Sympathetic dominance means that most of the time, most of us are frequently in fight or flight. We're in hypervigilance. We're in a nervous system dysregulated response, which means we're reacting to something that doesn't feel safe. Now, on the other end is hypo, and that's freezing and fawning. Now, let's pretend you're another kind of animal in the savannah, and there's a lion, and your best tool is to play dead. Maybe because a lion won't attack you if it thinks that you're a dead, rotten animal, right? It thinks that you're not alive. And maybe then that meat is unsafe to eat. So for some bodies, they will go into a freeze response, which is on the hypo end of the being out of your range of capacity. So you'll notice this in your life. You may be more of the hypodominant person because you get really overwhelmed when life brings stresses to your doors. You may have trouble taking action. You may have trouble prioritizing. You get into bed and pull the covers and you can't stop watching Netflix. You just can't take action because you're in hypo response. So on the other end, we have our anxious people, or on the hyper end, we have our anxious people. And on the hypo end, we have our depressed people. And this is not a judgment. This is not condemnation. This is just to understand what's going on in our body. And what we need to know is that when we find ourselves numbing, when we find ourselves in a numbing state, then what it means is that our nervous system is just in overwhelm. It means that um, when we're we're a hypo person. When we find ourselves in overwhelm, we're probably in people pleasing behavior because that's a fawning response. We're in some kind of fawn or freeze response. When we find ourselves basically feeling unsafe and feeling out of control in our physiology and in our behavior, we are dysregulated. And so many things that the personal development world tells you that you can overcome with mindset, you can't. Not just mindset, because we can't talk our bodies out of the way that they feel. We can only feel our bodies into healing. We can't talk our bodies out of the way that they feel. We can only feel our way into healing. A feeling can only be healed by feeling a new feeling, by teaching our body what it feels like to actually feel safe and regulated and resourced. A feeling cannot be healed by thinking. Our behavior is caused by a feeling. We are not completely illogical beings. Our nervous systems are not based on logic. They are based on energy. Our nervous systems communicate through electric impulses. So what does that mean? It means that our entire bodies are running through energy, through essentially light being communicated from synapse to neuron to neuron to synapse. And our entire whole selves are animated through that entire time. Our heart is beating based on an electric pulse. When someone flatlines, do you know how obviously, I'm sure, how they get the heart pumping again? Well, they shock it. What do they shock it with? Electricity. What is that? It's energy. So our entire lives are based on the unseen world of energy, of the way things feel. It's our nervous system. So we need to understand that going into hyper response, we need to understand when we go into hypo response, we need to understand when we are dysregulated, because it is impacting what is coming into our lives and what we feel okay with and how we're surviving versus how we're thriving. When we are out of the range of tolerance, our range of capacity, our range of regulation, all the same thing, we need to understand what's going on, because it will impact what we will allow into our lives, including abundance, including money, including success, including clients, including relationships. The whole name of the game is to learn to signal safety when we are dysregulated in our nervous system, so that our body can be updated to say, oh, actually, I am safe. I don't need to go into an unconscious triggered response right now. I don't need to go into hypervigilance. I don't need to go into a trauma response. I can update my capacity to experience this part of life while still remaining conscious and present and aligned right now. And that's essentially what we're doing here right now. We need to teach our bodies what it feels like to feel safe and regulated and resourced, even in moments where we're triggered. That's true healing. There are different kinds of experience that will send us out of regulation, that will dysregulate us. There are all kinds, and it's different for everybody. Some of those are really stressful experiences that are negative, and some of those are stressful experiences that are positive. Here's where this is really important when it comes to your money and everything we've talked about so far, that applies to any part of your life that you're wanting to heal and be able to expand your capacity to receive and enjoy more. Whether it's your health, your romantic relationships, your ability to experience pleasure, to relax in your life, your ability to feel empowered and confident, and in the success of your business. It is when we can understand this, it's a game changer. That our nervous system determines that anything that is unfamiliar to us is unsafe. It doesn't do the rational thinking and go, oh, that's just a trigger. That's just no, it feels unsafe whenever we have that emotional response or that bodily sensation that triggers us that lets us know, whoa, this is a threat. We're not unsafe. When anything is unfamiliar, it is unsafe. So the vast majority of our financial goals, our business goals, the things in life that we want, maybe the love that we want, are something we've not experienced before. So according to our nervous system, every goal and every desire that we have is unfamiliar and unsafe until we teach it differently. Let's say you want to have 5-figure months or even 6-figure months or 7-figure years, or you want to have investment properties, or you want to build up a certain amount of savings so you can invest and work towards your freedom number. Or you want to build a business that works for you and that allows you total freedom with your time and your money. And you and it also, allows you to have freedom you've never had before. Whatever you want to have, those are very likely things that you've not experienced before. And so in many cases, your financial desires and the goals are also things that people in your past, in your lineage, probably have not experienced before either. So as you move towards achieving your financial goals, your nervous system is going to freak out by design because it is trying to keep you in the range of what it determines is safe for you, and what your nervous system determines is safe. And that which is familiar is going to feel safe. And that's it. That which is familiar based on your ancestral DNA lineage, based on your collective programming, based on your own lived experiences, and now your beliefs is what's going to feel safe to you. And that's it. So how are you supposed to expand? How are we supposed to expand our capacity for more and update our set points in our nervous system? How are we supposed to be able to experience what we desire to experience when most of our money goals are unfamiliar and don't feel safe? Most of our desires are beyond what our nervous system thinks is safe. And our nervous system is going to do everything it can to keep us dysregulated to prevent us from going beyond what is experienced before. And that's a pretty big conundrum, right? Then we're going to be stuck forever in the limited range of what our nervous system sees as familiar and sees as safe until we do something to change it. And here's the good news, is that there are a million different ways to work with our bodies to signal safety, both when we're having stressful things happen to us that are negative and when we're having stressful things happen to us that are positive. So, the whole idea is to learn to signal safety in your body so that you can expand your range of capacity and your range of regulation. Our ability to feel safe and whole in any moment, or to return to that place of safety and wholeness, is our ability to magnetize our dreams to us. Everything we desire is available right now, and it is our inheritance. God has promised it to us. He's already said it's ours. He's already given it to us. It has our name on it. But the way we unlock it and open ourselves to receive the flow of it into our lives is to activate our nervous system receptor sites so that it can feel safe to actually call it in, and we can it can feel familiar to us because we actually become a match for it, which means we have to remove the block between what we want and our current lived experience. And the way we do that is to learn how to feel safe, to embody a sense of safety in this present moment instead of continuing to wait to feel safe and secure when our circumstances feel safe and secure enough. We're trying to get it backwards. We're trying to get our circumstances to feel safe and secure enough rather than to teach our body what it feels like to feel safe before our circumstances will change. Today, I'm going to teach you a quick and easy tool that you can turn to signal safety in your body when you know or when you notice that you're outside of your range of regulation and you're dysregulated. And anytime you feel anxious, anytime you feel fearful, stressful, stressed in any situation or circumstance, maybe you have butterflies in your stomach, you're experiencing the whole cocktail of the physiological chemicals that are signaling to your body that you're unsafe. Whatever is actually happening is that you are moving in the direction of your dreams, moving towards something that feels unfamiliar to you. So you know you're not actually unsafe. You're not being chased by a lion. There is no immediate threat, but your physiology, your body is experiencing an imprint like there is a threat. And your body feels like that threat is very real. So your job, so that scary circumstance or that situation, like doing a sales call, stepping out into new territory, giving yourself more visibility, receiving more income, receiving the higher level clients you want, can begin to feel normal and part of your daily expansive life. And rocking those calls and having a really high conversion rate or being more visible becomes your normal default behavior. The key to all of that is signaling safety in your body and teaching your body what it feels like to feel safe to receive. So today I'm going to teach you a little practice called havening. And havening is a practice. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see me. But if you're listening on the podcast listening app, you can just follow along here because I'll describe it for you. But all you do is you take your two hands and you rub them slowly over each other. And as you do that, you put your attention, you can do this, you can do it on the backside, you can do it however you want, whatever you feel led to do. You rub them slowly over each other. And as you do that, you want to put your attention on the experience of what it feels like to both be one hand touching the other and the other hand touching the other. So you're being in both of your hands at the same time, fully present. What does it feel like to touch your skin and be the one hand touching the other hand? You can also run your hand up your arm and include your forearms in this, or include your upper arms or your shoulders, or you're slowly running your hands over your own body now as you're noticing what it feels like for the one hand to touch the skin on the other hand or on the arm. Also, see what you see and be present in each motion and each touch. It's really good for your brain and amazing for your nervous system. You're signaling safety to your nervous system. Notice too what it feels like to be the one hand or the arm that's being touched. So the idea here is to put your whole attention on the sensory experience of being the toucher and the touchy at the same time. And just notice what that feels like. Notice what happens in your physiology. Notice what happens to your breath as you put your attention on the feeling of slowly rubbing your hands over each other. Just personally notice the present moment comes more into focus. I notice a deepening in my breath. I notice that I'm just more aware of what it feels like to be in my body in this present moment. Because when we're in a flight response or hypervigilant response, we disconnect from our body. So we want to bring our awareness and our attention back into our body. Now, there are many, many, many different ways to activate your senses and put your attention on your five senses to essentially signal your body that you are safe. Another one is to be fully present in your seat and feel the support. Notice the back of your body and the pushing and the urgency in the front of your body, how your body's leaning and always urgently trying to get somewhere or do something or attend to something. Let's simply just straighten your spine. Feel feel the support of the back of your body while softening down the front of your body. And as you do, just open your gaze and look up. And as you open to your peripheral vision, it automatically metabolizes the stress and the signals, it automatically metabolizes the stress and it signals safety to your body. Ground your feet on the floor. These couple of exercises are very basic, but they're very effective when done regularly or consistently. I also do a practice called shaking, where you just shake however your body needs to be shaken to, again, mimic the gazelle. That's the way that we're created too. Our culture just teaches us that after trauma, we don't work our body through the whole process of being able to process it to the end to be able to heal. The mechanism that's going on here is if you were being chased by a lion, you would not have the capacity to stop and slowly run your hands over each other and be present in your body to feel your skin. You would be running and you'd be doing a practice and doing a practice like havening or opening your gaze or feeling support of your back of your body and being fully present, and actually signals to your body that there is not a threat. You don't have to run for your life. It's like, oh, hello, all is well, all is calm. We have capacity. We have time and space right now to sit here and rub our hands slowly over each other. And it tells your body that you are safe. So every time you experience a stressful scenario, whether it's positive stress or negative stress, and you signal to your body that you're safe, you have automatically updated your nervous system to expand its range of capacity to receive more, to be safe with more. So now, sales calls, more visibility, receiving greater amounts of money, receiving the love, enjoying the relationship that you want. Over time, as you regulate your nervous system while you're engaging in a new behavior, that new behavior becomes normalized in your system and it now enters your range of capacity. And now you can get really good at it because your mind and your body aren't completely freaking out. You're actually whole and present and able to put your full attention on the other person that you're talking to, which is one of the greatest secrets to sales and the next level of abundance and visibility that we have. There are deeper practices. There are more practices. There are specific practices to heal certain traumas. There are more things that we can do to up-level our nervous system and increase our set point in our nervous system so that we can receive more. That was the practice I wanted to teach you today. We had a big lesson on the nervous system. We went deep into how to signal safety in your body and why that matters so much. And we're going to continue to talk on the nervous system in future episodes so that you can experience more peace, more joy, more pleasure, and feel even more powerful in your earning potential and in the wealth stewarding potential that you have in your body. If you're ready to dive into this work, I'd love to guide you through your own healing and reconditioning your nervous system so you can experience the fullness, the freedom, and the joy and abundance that you were created for in every area of your life and your business. Just reach out and let's have a conversation about that and talk about the challenges that you're having and the goals that you have and how it can help. If you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful, go ahead and share it on social media, leave a rating, leave a review, text it to a friend. Make sure you've subscribed also to the podcast so that you get all access to all the episodes as soon as they come out. And I'll see you for the next episode where we're going to dive into those deeper fears and what's actually unconsciously keeping you from really having all that you want and all that God has promised you, so that you can up-level that range of capacity. And I hope that you see the value in your own healing. I hope that you see the value in your own wholeheartedness and you see how it impacts every area of your life and your business and what you're able to receive and enjoy in your life and your business. And I would love to help guide you to those to expand your capacity. So share this episode with someone. Feel free to reach out and let's do a discovery call. And I look forward to seeing you right back here for the next episode of Free to Soar podcast. Thanks for joining me today. See you soon. Thanks for joining me today on the Free to Soar podcast, where we empower and equip you to lead the business and the life of your dreams with freedom, impact, enjoyment, and abundance. I look forward to our next episode together, and I invite you to subscribe to be notified of new episodes as they are released. Please share this or your favorite episode with a friend or a loved one, and I'd love it if you'd leave a review on iTunes and Spotify.